Hi everyone, it's me Guni and you guys are watching on Learning for Life. So this is the part 4 for your preparation and as promised ये last part है जिसमें आपको मैं stories करवाऊंगी and ये वीडियो आपको approx 10 PM तक मिल रही होगी तो see I have done whatever I could from my side. Now it's your time to revise everything. ओके सो अभी हम फटाफट से कर लेते हैं ये चीज़ स्टोरीज डिस्कस कर लेते हैं एंड उसके बाद आई गिव यू अ लिटिल पीस ऑफ एडवाइस कि तुमने पेपर कैसे अटेम्प्ट करना है एंड देन वी विल टेक आई विल टेक अ लीव ओके सो ओके लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड यहाँ पे मैंने खोल लिया सबसे पहले हम करेंगे द एलिवेटर तो इसमें क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 है Have you ever noticed a strange lady in the elevator? He asked his father that evening. Can't say I have, he replied, not looking away from the television. Now the question says, who is he? And why does he talk about the strange lady in the elevator? What was strange about her behavior? He is Martin, a thin 12-year-old boy. He talks about the strange lady in the elevator because she had boarded the elevator when he was in it, and her presence made him feel uncomfortable. The lady was wearing an old oversized green color coat that ballooned around her. She was so fat that her coat brushed against Martin and he had to squeeze himself into the corner inside a tiny elevator. She had large fleshy cheeks and no chin, just a huge mass of neck. Her blue eyes were tiny but sharp, which seemed to be boring into the Martin's face. Martin found it strange that despite him looking away, the woman continued to stare at him, breathing loudly. To make matters worse, he could not rush out of the elevator and had to wait for her to exit first. So ये क्वेश्चन में जनरली तो पहले तो उन्होंने पूछा हु इज ही तो हमने ही का आंसर दिया दैट ही इज मार्टिन एंड देन हमने मार्टिन की डिस्क्रिप्शन दे दी ठीक है यहाँ पे हमने इसकी डिस्क्रिप्शन दे दी नाउ अब सेकंड चीज उसने की कि वाई डज ही टॉक अबाउट द स्ट्रेंज लेडी तो स्ट्रेंज लेडी के बारे में क्यों बात कर रहा है क्योंकि उसे वो एलिवेटर में मिली थी और उसने उसे पहले कभी नहीं देखा था हर प्रेजेंस मेड हिम फील अनकंफर्टेबल और उसके बाद व्हाट वाज स्ट्रेंज क्यों अनकंफर्टेबल फील हो रहा था वो पूछा है तो वो तो हमने पूरी डिस्क्रिप्शन दे दी लेडी की कि व्हाई मार्टिन वाज नॉट वेल विद द लेडी जस्ट अ सेकंड एक सेकंड रुकोगे जस्ट अ मिनट या ओके सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ बढ़ते हैं नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन सेज his father does not look away from the television what does this say about his relationship with he ठीक है the act of Martin's father not looking away from the television shows that he is disinterested in interacting with Martin he he has a poor opinion about his son and thinks सो एक सेकेंड इसको हम कीवर्ड्स मार्क कर देते हैं डिसइंटरेस्टेड इन इंटरैक्टिंग ही हैज अ पुअर ओपिनियन अबाउट हिज सन एंड ही थिंक्स ही इज timid and a coward. He accuses him of being afraid of some poor old lady and he asks him when he would grow up and act like a man. The relationship between them lacks warmth. Martin does not even want his father to see him cry. That is why, even on the day they return from the hospital, the father chooses to get off on the ninth floor to visit Mrs. Ullman, leaving Martin alone despite being on crutches. Okay, so his father was very distant kind of person. Next is, why do you think the father may not have seen a strange lady in the elevator? Martin's father may not have seen a strange lady in the elevator because he works from home, first point. He does not seem to be using elevator often. Due to this reason, it is likely that he may have never run into the lady in the elevator. Does he, okay, just a second. Yeah. Does he confront his problems or run away from them. Explain. तो यहाँ पे मार्टिन की बात की हो रही है. तो Martin tends to avoid confronting his problems, which is evident in his passive and fearful nature throughout the story. He is terrified of the elevator and the mysterious, intimidating woman who enters it. But he never directly addresses his fear or takes action to overcome it. Instead, he lets the anxiety fester, and his sense of dread only deepens as the story progresses. Similarly, Martin's interaction with his father also highlight his avoidance. His father dismisses Martin's fears, making Martin feel even more isolated, okay, and powerless. And rather than standing up for himself or seeking help, Martin remains silent. His inability to confront his fear culminates in the final, terrifying encounter with the woman, suggesting that his tendency to run away from his problem leaves him vulnerable and trapped in his own anxieties. Okay, so this is what we have. Now, just a second. इसको मैं अच्छे से मार्क कर देती हूँ. Now, last question from this paragraph is comment question. Comment on the title of the story at a literal and symbolic level. Both. देखो literal and symbolic मतलब तुम्हें थोड़ा सा लंबा आंसर लिखना पड़ेगा. Do you think it is appropriate? So अगर appropriate ऐसा क्वेश्चन है ना, do you think it is appropriate? You have to write yes it is appropriate and then give answers. Never write no it is not appropriate. Okay. The title of William Slater's short story, Elevator, serves as a central element of narrative. It is at the heart of the story, and you can use words like this, and the central point of conflict in the story. The title is appropriate because much of action in the story unfolds in Elevator. It is the confined space in which protagonist Martin becomes trapped, setting off series of events that drive the plot forward. Thus, Elevator is not just a physical location, but also a symbol of entrapment and confinement, representing Martin's escalating fear and claustrophobia. At a symbolic level, the elevator represents pressures of modern life, the struggle to move up in life, and the fear of isolation. By choosing this as the title, Slater emphasizes the symbolic weight of this mundane yet potentially terrifying aspect of everyday life. The elevator is also a metaphor for Martin's relationship with his father. He is also stuck in a metaphorical elevator, trapped between his fears and his father's expectations. He is unable to escape the fat lady. The title makes it apparent that the elevator will be at the heart of story. It also serves as a form of foreshadowing. मतलब पहले से पता लगाना, कुछ idea देना. Foreshadowing, hinting at the central conflict of the story and preparing readers for the suspenseful events to come. Even before they begin reading, readers are prepared to anticipate a narrative centered around elevator and the challenges it presents to the protagonist. Now next, let's move on to the question number 2. She was wearing an old green coat that ballooned around her. As she waddled into the elevator, Martin, sure he felt it sink under her weight. She was so big that her coat brushed against him and he had to squeeze himself into a corner. At which floor did the lady enter the elevator? What is the meaning of ballooned? Why do you think Martin felt uncomfortable? So the lady entered the elevator at the 14th floor. The lady was wearing an old oversized green color coat that ballooned around her. Balloon means it spread around her in such a way that made her seem even more big than she was. Martin felt uncomfortable because the lady was so fat that her coat brushed against Martin. He had to squeeze himself into the corner inside a tiny elevator. She had large fleshy cheeks and no chin, just a huge mass of neck. Her blue eyes were tiny but sharp and seemed to be boring into Martin's face. Moreover, despite looking away from the woman, she was constantly staring at him and breathing loudly. To make matters worse, he could not rush out of the elevator and had to wait for her to exit first. Now, next question is, what was Martin's fear about riding the elevator? Mention any three, right? So ऐसे questions आएंगे जिसमें तीन दिए हुए हैं कि mention any three. तो इसमें तुम्हें direct लिखना है. You don't have to explain very much. So Martin had several fears about riding the elevator. He feared that they would fall. He felt uncomfortable. Uh, the door which never stayed open for the long enough. ठीक है, door never stayed open for long enough and slammed shut with a loud clanging noise. He was afraid that it would stop suddenly and he would be trapped inside for hours by himself. Also, he never liked when other people were with him in the elevator. Okay, so it was very bad for it. So okay, now you can also write that the elevator was very small, it had very bad lighting, the walls were dirty. So you can write anything, any of the three reasons that are given in the first paragraph of the story. How did Martin feel when there are other passengers in the elevator? When there were other passengers in the elevator, Martin felt discomfort and a yearning for personal space. He disliked being in a close proximity to strangers and disliked how people tried hard not to look at one another, staring nothing. This added to his existing dislike of the elevator. Why were the stairs not better than the elevator? The stairs were no better than the elevator because they had no windows. The lights did not work. Furthermore, Martin's footsteps echoed behind him on the cement steps as though there was another person climbing and getting closer. You can also add that Martin lived on the higher floor, which was unable to reach with through stairs. Okay, now next question number E. Do you think the elevator is a character in the story? If yes, how does the theme of fear and claustrophobia play in the story? Yes, the author has included the elevator almost like the character in story. Throughout the story, the elevator symbolizes the protagonist Martin's deepest fear and anxieties, and its presence takes on a sinister, almost antagonistic role. It seems to have a mind of its own in a manner in which it shuts fast without allowing much time to the passengers to get in, makes all kinds of sounds, and seems exhausted. Slater personifies the elevator by making it central source of tension and the factor that induces fear in Martin. Using the elevator, the story delves into the fear of being trapped both physically and psychologically. The elevator becomes a symbol of confinement as there is hardly any space to move, and the protagonist's escalating panic amplifies the sense of claustrophobia. The enclosed space symbolizes Martin's inability to escape his own fears. The fat lady's unsettling presence heightens this fear, turning the elevator into a place of psychological torment. As the story progresses, the elevator gets elevated to a source of terror, trapping him in a cycle of anxiety. Now let's move on to the third question. Let's read the extract which says, Martin's father worked at home. He wanted to know why Martin was out of breath. Why didn't you take the elevator? He asked, frowning at Martin. So now he asked, what does Martin reply? So first question is, how old was Martin? On which floor did he live? And what word would you use to describe Martin? So this is totally recall based question. Martin was a 12-year-old boy. He lived on the 17th floor. He was a timid boy who felt claustrophobic inside an elevator. Why was Martin scared of using the elevator? Martin was scared of using the elevator because he was scared of confined places. That is, you can write he had claustrophobia. Now, there was poor lighting, phobia, okay. There was poor lighting in the elevator. Its walls were dirty and the door never stayed open. Never stayed open for a long time, slammed shut with a loud clanging noise. He was also scared that it would stop suddenly and he would be trapped. Besides, he feared that it will fall. So यहाँ पे बहुत सारी चीजें हमने लिख दी हैं. Martin disliked using the staircase. Why? Martin disliked using the staircase because there were no windows. The lights did not work. The footstep echoed on the cement as though someone was following him. So this is the same question, but इसको हमने change करके लिखा, and I guess this is taken from the specimen paper. Okay. Martin met a strange person in the elevator one day. What did she do that scared Martin? What happened to Martin when he ran away after seeing her? Again, same question. The strange person who Martin met in the elevator one day continuously stared at him with her blue piggy eyes, making him feel very uncomfortable. She breathed loudly and she stared at him. One day, seeing her in the elevator, Martin ran down the stairs and fell and fractured his leg. Now, last question from this chapter is comment on the ending of the story, The Elevator. Identify any two elements of horror in the story. The ending of the story is rather abrupt as there is no resolution to the fears of experienced by Martin at the end story. It is a cliffhanger ending क्योंकि हमें पता नहीं लगा कि इसके बाद एंडिंग में हुआ क्या है एग्जैक्टली. एज द फैट लेडी प्रेसेस द स्टॉप बटन and we do not know what could have happened to Martin after that. The lack of resolution leaves the reader hanging, wondering what happens next. This creates a sense of suspense and allows the reader to imagine different possibilities. By not providing a clear ending, the author invites the reader to participate in the story. We are encouraged to ponder over Martin's fate and consider his chances of escape. The lack of definitive answer adds to the story ambiguity. Perhaps Martin conquers his fears and emerges safely. Maybe the woman's intentions are sinister, leaving a darker outcome. This ambiguity allows for multiple interpretations and enriches the story's meaning. The abrupt ending shifts focus from the fear of the elevator and the fat lady to Martin's internal conflict. The reader is left to consider whether Martin can overcome his fear regardless of the external circumstances. Two elements of horror include the fat lady stopping the elevator between the floors and sinister smile on the woman's face at the end of the story. So with this, we have completed the first story, that is The Elevator. Now let's move on to the second one, which is The Girl Who Can, written by Emma Etta Aidu. Okay. So yeah, just a second. Okay, great. So we have 3 questions in this as well. Let's start. From the question number 1, we can start. Okay. Just a second. Yes. It is much better this way, to have acted it out, to show them, although I could not have planned it. Who is I and them in the passage? Where is the story based? I is the narrator, 7-year-old Adjoa, and them refers to her grandmother, Nana, and her friends. The story is based in Hadzoudzi, a big village of the central region of Ghana in Africa. Why does she say it's much better this way? The narrator says it's much better this way at the end of The Girl Who Can because she could not make her legs do the talking for her. Okay, she could make her legs do the talking for her. All along, Adjoa was timid to protest against the criticism of her thin legs. She would have asked never to repeat such words or been laughed at. But now, by winning the race, she managed to prove that her legs were not good for nothing. She could run with them and be a winner. So Adjoa feels that this manner of proving her point was much better, where she acted it out to show them instead of arguing with them. This was certainly not planned, but Adjoa was glad that it turned out this way, where her victory also represented a triumph over her grandmother's expectations and the societal norms of her time. Next is, what does the narrator say about the mother after this? The narrator Adjoa says about her mother that she has been speechless as usual. This line reflects Adjoa's observation of her mother's quiet, reserved nature, particularly when compared to her outspoken grandmother, Nana. Adjoa's mother doesn't engage much in the discussions or criticism about her daughter's leg or future, except to insist that she should go to school. This is reversed behavior in reflection of the social dynamics within their household, where the grandmother plays a more assertive and dominant role. The mother is contrast is a more passive personality. Thus, okay, the phrase speechless as usual suggests that Adjoa has grown accustomed to her mother's quiet demeanor, though it does not imply lack of care or concern. Instead, it highlights a difference in how the mother expresses herself compared to her grandmother. Next question is, why does Adjoa find grown-ups strange? Adjoa comments that grown-ups are strange because her grandmother is now carrying her on her knee and is crying softly. At the same time, she is muttering, thin legs can be so useful. And even though they do not have much meat on them to carry hips, they can run. She is obviously delighted with her grandchild's achievement, and the realization has dawned on her that she was wrong. Adjoa finds such emotional behavior strange. Now, the thinking question, do you think if Adjoa had not won the competition, things would have been different? If Adjoa had not won the running competition, the things likely would have been different in terms of her relationship with her family, particularly her grandmother. Winning the competition is a pivotal moment for Adjoa because it transforms from a girl who is criticized for her skinny legs into someone whose physical abilities are recognized and celebrated. The win helps her gain a sense of worth and self-acceptance, especially since her legs were previously seen as inadequate. The victory validates her. Had she not won, Adjoa might have continued to struggle with the same feeling of inadequacy and insecurity about her body. Her grandmother's perception of her legs might not have changed either. The jibes would have continued, reinforcing the idea that physical appearance and motherhood were important than capability. The win plays a crucial role in shifting the narrative, both for Adjoa's self-esteem and in changing her grandmother's perspective for critical uh, to accepting and even proud of her granddaughter's ability. The victory in the competition thus is a catalyst for a larger message of the story without breaking free from the societal expectations and finding value in oneself. Okay, now what we are going to do here, I'm going to give you this. There are two more questions that I am going to give you. Please read it by yourself. यहाँ पे I'll be showing you. You can take screenshot, or otherwise I have given the link to these questions in the description, so you can go there and directly do that. Okay. So I'm also going to give you a minute to screenshot. Otherwise, you can directly go to in the description and the link is there. Okay. So if you want to screenshot, you can. Done. Let me show you the rest of the question as well. Okay. Done. Now I'll show you some last things. इसका एक और पेज रहेगा आपके पास. Yeah. Done. Now this was the girl who can. Let's get started with the photographer. And इसमें भी I have here 4 questions and I'll discuss 2 of them and the rest you can read from this PDF also which I am giving you or you can just take a screenshot. Okay. So first जो हम discuss करेंगे this is from the ICSE 2025 specimen paper. Okay. Okay, just a second. We'll start with the first one. Okay. Uh, the photographer beckoned me in. I thought he seemed quieter and graver than before. I think, too, there was a certain pride in his manner. He unfolded the proof of a large photograph, and we both looked at it in silence. Is it me? I asked. Yes, he said quietly. It is you, and we went on looking at it. The first question says, where was the narrator? Why he had gone there? Why do you think that there was a certain pride in the photographer's manner? The narrator was at the studio of photographer. He had gone there because he wanted to get his photograph clicked and that he wanted to give his friends to keep after his death. There was certain pride in photographer's manner because he thought highly of his technical expertise. He was he was also so proud of the manner in which he had used Delphi to correct all the features on the face of the narrator, and he did not like in order to make the photograph look presentable. Second is, what does the word proof mean in this context? Why did the narrator ask, is it me? The word proof means a sample impression of the photograph before the final print. The narrator asked, is it me? Because he could not recognize himself in the photograph that had been altered beyond recognition. While the photograph was picture perfect, it looked nothing like the narrator's face. Next is, which of the narrator's facial feature had the photographer altered? The narrator's eyes, eyebrows, mouth, hairline had been altered completely. While the eyes had been retouched, the eyebrows had been completely removed, the mouth had been adjusted, and he wanted to make a new brow line for the hair. Next is, what was the only part of the narrator's face that seemed original of in the photograph? How did the photographer plan to fix this? The narrator's ear were the only feature that remained original in the photograph. However, the photographer planned to fix this in the print by using a process called sulfide to remove the ears entirely. At the end of the story, the narrator flies into a rage. What makes him angry? How would you justify the narrator's angry outburst? At the end of the story, the narrator flies into a rage because the photographer's proof had no original facial features and instead was an altered product. The photograph bore no resemblance to him. The narrator's angry outburst is justified because he had been patient all along, putting up with the idiosyncrasies and eccentric photographer. When he was finally offered this proof, he felt that his patience had been tested. He felt humiliated by the photographer's insensitivity and the manner in which he hurt his self-esteem and body shamed him. Okay. Now this is the first question. Now I'm going to give you a minute to either screenshot the second question or you can find the second question from the link down. Done? Done? Great. Now this is the question number 3. Let's discuss this question. I guess this question needs to be discussed or not. Let me see. There was this question that I wanted to discuss. One. Okay, yeah, that's question number 4. You can also click a screenshot of question number 3 or get the PDF from the description. Done? I'll show you the rest part. Done? Great. Now let's start with the question number 4. Uh, the ears are bad, he said. Droop them a little more. Thank you. Now the eyes. Roll them under the lids. Put the hands on knees, please. And tone the face just a little upward. Yes, that's better. Describe the photographer's appearance. Why did he look at the author without enthusiasm? What impression did he get of the photographer? The photographer was a drooping man in a grey suit with the dim eye of a natural scientist. He looked at the author without enthusiasm as he did not seem to like his face. The author also suspected that he may have broken into the privacy of the photographer's scientific pursuits. The impression that he got was that the photographer lacked warmth and emotion. Second question is, where did the photographer make the author sit? Describe the photographer's initial attempt to take a picture. The photographer made the author sit in a beam of sunlight filtered through, just a second, beam of sunlight filtered through a sheet of factory cotton hung against the frosted skylight. The photographer then rolled the machine into the middle of room and crawled under the cloth draped over the machine. He remained inside only for a second and came out and tore the cotton sheet and the window panes with a hooked stick, apparently frantic for light and air. Next question is, what instructions did the photographer give the author before taking his photograph? The photographer asked the author to droop his ear a little more, roll his eyes under the lids, put his hands on his knees, turn his face a little upward, expand the lungs, contract the waist, hump the neck, twist the hip up toward the elbow. Which feature in the author's photograph had some resemblance to his face? Same question, ears. How did the photographer offer to set this right? Again, the same question, that the only ears had some resemblance to the face of author. Photographer offered to set it right in the print by using a process called sulfide, which would remove the ears entirely. Comment on the photographer's retouching and altering of the author's photograph. Mention one modern equivalent of what the photographer attempted to do. Give one reason for the photographer's action was insensitive. Now this is the reason I chose to discuss this extract. एक ये वाला क्वेश्चन है रीजन उसका, एंड सेकंड रीजन इज कि इसके आंसर बहुत मैंने कंसाइज करके लिखे हुए थे. सो आई वॉज गेटिंग आस्क्ड कि इतने लंबे लंबे आंसर लिखने की जरूरत है, नहीं लिखने की जरूरत है. इफ यू राइट शॉर्ट क्रिस्प आंसर्स लाइक दिस, सारे कीवर्ड्स हैं, यू डोंट हैव टू राइट लॉन्ग पैराग्राफ्स. ओके, और ये क्वेश्चन इंपॉर्टेंट है. The photographer's act of retouching and altering the author's photograph amounted to insensitively manipulation the real looks of the author. In the process, he also body shamed the author by telling that all the all he thought was wrong with his face and made him feel inferior about his looks. A modern day equivalent of what the photographer attempted to do is how various filters available on smartphones can digitally alter any feature of a person to make him or her look better or worse. So this is very important to write, better or worse. You have to write both things. It is often used by advertising agencies to promote unrealistic beauty standards as well. The photographer's action was insensitive because he made the author feel small by his words and actions. He presented a caricature instead of a photograph to the author by making him conform to what he thought were ideals of good looks. So this is pure based off body shaming, right? Right? So this is purely body shaming. Great. I hope it's clear. Now, if you are worrying why I'm not discussing both questions, देखो मैं तुम्हारा टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करना चाहती. अगर मैं बोलूंगी तो हो सकता है कि तुम्हें पॉज करके खुद भी दोबारा रीड करना पड़े, फिर मेरा भी सुनना पड़े. नो, आई डोंट वांट टू वेस्ट योर टाइम. मैंने तुम्हें दो ऑप्शंस दिए हैं, इधर यू हैव टू क्लिक द स्क्रीनशॉट और डायरेक्टली गो इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स. मैं तुम्हें एक खोल के भी दिखा देती हूँ. मैंने लास्ट वीडियो में जैसे अपना डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में तुम्हें प्रॉपर दिखाया है कि कैसे, मैं तुम्हें ये दिखा देती हूँ लास्ट वीडियो का कि कैसे मैंने अपने डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में तुम्हारे लिए वो डाला है, दिस points. Okay,
Hello.
just a second. See, now this is my account and there it is. ठीक है. Okay, great. Let me show you. Just a second, मैं इसको भी open कर रही हूँ तुम्हारे लिए. Okay, great. Okay. Yes, it is open. Great. Now, see, अभी मैं स्क्रीन शेयर करने वाली हूँ on how I did it. ठीक है, तो let me show you. अभी ये ओपन कर लिया मैंने. अभी आई एम गोइंग टू शेयर द स्क्रीन विद यू. वेयर इज इट? यस, दिस इज इट. नहीं, एक सेकेंड रुको, मैं तुम्हें दिखाती हूँ. ऑल्सो ठीक है. यस, अब मैं शेयर करती हूँ. अब ज़्यादा अच्छे से दिखेगा तुम लोगों को. ओके, नहीं दिख रहा या नहीं दिख रहा ना? ओके, अब दिखेगा. इज इट विजिबल? अब देखते हैं, इज इट विजिबल नाउ? ये पता नहीं क्यों ऐसे दिखा रहा है. जस्ट अ सेकेंड. नहीं, ये नहीं, ये वाला. यस, नाउ इज इट विजिबल. सी, यहाँ पे मैंने ये वीडियो डाली है जो जूलियस सीजर की थी. ठीक है, अभी मैं तुम्हें इसका दिखाती हूँ. इफ यू स्क्रॉल डाउन टू द डाउन, यहाँ पर डिस्क्रिप्शन में देर इज दिस लिंक फॉर द पीडीएफ, यहाँ पे मैंने ड्राइव का लिंक डाला है. ठीक है, नाउ यू इफ यू क्लिक दिस, तो जैसे ही तुम इसको क्लिक करोगे यू विल सी दिस पेज. ठीक है, आई होप ये तुम्हें विजिबल है. हाँ, यू विल सी दिस पेज. और जैसे ही ये पेज खुलेगा तो यहाँ पे अभी यहाँ पे मैंने डाला हुआ है दिस इज सी, पोम्स के सारे अवेलेबल हैं. ठीक है, देन अगर पोम्स नहीं करनी तुम लोगों को, जूलियस सीजर का पढ़ना है, तो जूलियस सीजर के भी सारे तीनों एक्ट्स मैंने डाल दिए हैं. एंड वंस दिस वीडियो अपलोड्स, जो अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं स्टोरीज की, तो मैं ये स्टोरी का भी मिल जाएगा. ठीक है, सो दिस इज, ये जैसे वीडियो आएगी साथ में स्टोरी के भी यहाँ पे अपलोड हो जाएंगे, तो यू कैन वॉच. ओके, आई होप दैट इज नाउ यू आर एबल टू फाइंड द थिंग. नाउ हम बात करते हैं आगे. हम क्वेश्चन डिस्कस कर बता रही थी मैं तुम्हें. सो वी आर डन विद द फोटोग्राफर, वी आर डन विद सॉरी, we are done with the photographer, we are done with the elevator, we are done with the girl who can. Now last two chapters are remaining, that is the pedestrian and the last lesson. इसमें भी I'll discuss one question each जो important लगेगा मुझे, and rest I will show you. तो तुम इधर स्क्रीनशॉट या डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में जैसे मैंने दिखाया तुम देख लेना. तो यहाँ पे पेडेस्ट्रियन में से ये आईसीसी सैंपल पेपर में आया था स्पेसिमेन में 2025 में, तो मैं ये वाला डिस्कस करूंगी. एंड रेस्ट 3 यू कैन टेक स्क्रीनशॉट. मैं अभी ही दिखा देती हूँ. टेक स्क्रीनशॉट गाइस. एक सेकेंड, मैं इसको ऊपर कर देती हूँ. या टेक स्क्रीनशॉट. Take a screenshot, then take a screenshot and take a screenshot. अगर तुमने स्क्रीनशॉट ले लेना, अगेन डिस्क्रिप्शन में है, बट आई एम गिविंग यू ऑल द अपॉर्चुनिटीज, जो भी तुम जैसे भी करना चाहते हो. ये क्वेश्चन मैं डिस्कस कर देती हूँ. इट सेज He would stand upon the corner of an intersection and peep down long moonlight avenues of sidewalk in four directions, deciding which way to go, but it really made no difference. Leonard Med was the who was the Leonard Med occupation? What was Leonard Med's occupation? What did he love to do? Why? When is the story set? So Leonard Med was a writer. He loved to go out on long walks by himself in the evening at 8 o'clock, either on the concrete sidewalk or on the grassy patch. Sorry. The story is set in 253 AD. To what does Med compare his walk through the empty streets? Mention two reasons he gives for making this comparison. Med compares his walk through the empty streets to walking through a graveyard. This comparison evokes a sense of isolation and lifelessness, which reflects through the dystopian world where most people stay indoors, consumed by their televisions rather than engaging with outside world. The reasons he gives for making this comparison are that Maid observes that the streets are eerily quiet and devoid of human activity. He walks for miles without encountering another person, much like one would experience in a graveyard, which symbolizes place of death and stillness. Second, Med notices the houses are dark and tomb-like, with their inhabitants inside, glued to their viewing screens or televisions. The people are disconnected from the outside world, making the streets feel abandoned as if the city itself is dead. Next is why had Med decided to change his footwear from hard-heeled shoes to sneakers. Leonard Med switched to sneakers to avoid drawing attention to himself during nightly walks. The sound of hard-heeled shoes would alert dogs who in intermittent squads would parallel in his journey with barkings. It would also startle people in the houses and they would express surprise at the sight of the solitary figure in the early November evening. It would cause lights to click on and faces to appear on street. Maid wanted to avoid this unwanted scrutiny. By wearing sneakers, he could move quietly and remained unnoticed, allowing him to fully immerse himself in the quiet and empty streets. Okay, just a second. Now the question number D. What has happened quite suddenly as he was making his way home? What was Med's immediate reaction? As Leonard Med was making his way home, a police car suddenly appeared and flashed a fierce white cone of light upon him, stopping him in the tracks. This was surprising to Med as streets had been completely deserted and there was only one police car left in the entire city due to low crime rate. Mead's immediate reaction was one of the surprise and unease. He was entranced, stunned by the illumination and startled by the sudden appearance of a car. He halted and raised his hands when he was asked to. Now, why Med was taken away? एक second. Yeah. Why Med was taken away by the police car? Would you call this horror story or a piece of science fiction? Give reasons for your answer. Leonard Med was taken away by the police car because his behavior of walking alone at night was considered suspicious and abnormal in highly controlled society portrayed in the pedestrian. In this world, almost everyone stays inside, glued to their viewing screens, and no one engages in the outdoor activities like walking. The police car is automated and devoid of human officer. Questions made about his occupation and lifestyle. When he responds that he is a writer in such, which is such a profession that is no longer has a meaning in the society because no one reads, the car concludes that he is mentally ill. Mead is then taken to a psychiatric center for research on regressive tendencies for engaging in this non-conformist behavior. I would call the story a piece of science fiction because it explores a futuristic society of 253 AD which is dominated by technology and results in dehumanization. It presents a vision of dystopian world where individual freedom is suppressed and people are controlled by machines and societal norms. The automated police car, the absence of human interaction, and the societal reliance on technology are classic elements of science fiction. The story critiques how technology can isolate individuals and create conformist, lifeless world. Okay, sorry. Now let's move on to the just a second last lesson chapter. इसमें भी मेरे पास तुम्हारे लिए 4 क्वेश्चंस है आई गेस यस 4 क्वेश्चंस हैं एंड यू कैन टेक स्क्रीनशॉट्स ऑलरेडी मैं एक ही क्वेश्चन डिस्कस करूंगी बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू टेक योर मच टाइम एंड उसके बाद तुम लोग आराम से डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक जो दिया है उसको खोल के इट इज़ फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मुझे कोई पैसे नहीं मिल रहे उसके दैट इज़ जस्ट अ शेयर्ड गूगल ड्राइव लिंक मैं सिर्फ तुम्हारी हेल्प करने के लिए शेयर कर रही हूँ यू कैन रीड फ्रॉम देयर और स्क्रीनशॉट लेके जो तुम्हें इजी लगे वो कर लेना अभी मैं दिखा रही हूँ क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 का स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो प्लीज आई डिस्कस क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 इसका बिकॉज दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट देन क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 का स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो प्लीज क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 आई विल डिस्कस एंड क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 का भी स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो प्लीज डन ग्रेट नाउ क्वेश्चन नंबर इस चैप्टर में द लास्ट लेसन में मैंने बेसिकली सारी क्वेश्चन आंसर्स बहुत शॉर्ट रखे हैं ताकि तुम्हें पता लगे कि इतने किस चीज में आंसर कैसे देना है तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 When I past the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. ये starting की बात हो रही है. For the last 2 years, all our bad news had come from there. Who is I? Why was there a crowd in front of the bulletin board? What was the bad news? What bad news had came from there in the last 2 years? I is France, a student at the school in Alsace. There was a crowd in front of the bulletin board at the town hall because that is where all important information relating to Alsace would be put up. People had crowded around it because Franco-Prussian War had just concluded and they were keen to know the latest orders from Berlin. That day, the order was that French would no longer be taught in the school and Major Hamel, the French teacher, would be replaced by a German teacher. In the past 2 years, all bad news relating to France's loss in the battles, the draft and orders of commanding officers were put up on the board. What was the character referred to as I expected to be prepared with that day? Why was he in dread? What did he contemplate? France was expected to be prepared on participles because his French teacher, Major Hamel, was expected to question the students on this day. He was in dread because he had not prepared for his grammar lesson. In fact, he did not know the first word about them. He contemplating running away and spending the day outdoors. What are the 3 changes that the character referred to as I observes as soon as he enters the destination? Franz observed that the school was unusually quiet that day, like a Sunday morning. He also observed that his classmates were already in their places and teacher Mosel Hammer was already inside the classroom. Along with the children, several adults like old Hauser, former mayor and former postman were also sitting in the class on the backbenches. The third change was in the attire of the teacher. Monsieur Hamel was wearing beautiful green coat, frilled shirt and black silk cap that he usually wore on inspection and prize days. What does I describe the order from Berlin as and why? Franz describes the order from Berlin as thunderclap because it was a shock for him that the study of French had been prohibited in Alsace and Lorraine and replaced by German. It was an unexpected development. Franz realized that Monsieur Hamel, who had taught in that school for 40 years, would no longer be able to serve there, and this would be their last French lesson. Comment on the use of a child narrator in the story. The use of a child narrator allows the author to adopt a simple and straightforward narration and talk about the most serious matters in the most innocent manner. इनोसेंट मैनर कैसे? क्योंकि उसमें उसने बाद में बोला था ना, will the birds also chirp in German? Will the birds also be told not to chirp in French? The setting is somber, but the narration by France gives the author the liberty to critique it differently from what it would have been if the narrator was adult. क्योंकि वो छोटी छोटी चीजों के बारे में बात कर रहा था कि ऊपर से आवाज आ रही थी, ये सब कुछ. The narration therefore helps the reader to understand the seriousness of the circumstances in Elsie have led to. For example, France's line about the pigeons in a very simple way. आ गया? Points to the linguistic chauvinism of the Persians and the repressive regime of Berlin. So with this we complete the stories. बाकी तुम्हें अगेन आई एम सेइंग यू कि लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में मिल जाएगा, आराम से बैठ के एक बारी सारे क्वेश्चन से गो थ्रू जाओ, ठीक है, पोएम्स की, चैप्टर्स की, जूलियस सीजर के, ठीक है, एंड मेक श्योर कि तुम कल जब पेपर खोलो बी वेरी काम, कोई टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगेन मैं वही लाइंस बोलूंगी जो मैंने आज के तीनों लेक्चर्स में पहले बोली है, दैट दिस इज अ सॉन्ग दैट आई यूज टू हेयर एंड मुझे ये इतना अच्छा लगता है बिकॉज इट गिव्स अ सेंस ऑफ रिलीफ, इट रिलीजेस स्ट्रेस. तो अपने आप को एग्जाम से पहले भी एक लाइन बोलना कि फिक्रों में है क्या रखा. What will you do? If you will stress, you will not be able to attempt your exam. सिंपल. तो फिक्रों से, कोई भी फिक्र करने से, कोई भी स्ट्रेस लेने से तुम्हारे लिए कोई अच्छी चीज नहीं होगी. एंड देन से कोशिशें तो कर सदा मीन्स दैट डू योर बेस्ट, ऑलवेज पुट एफर्ट्स. चाहे तुम अभी पढ़ने के वक्त डाल रहे हो, कल पेपर अटेम्प्ट करने में डालोगे, जस्ट do whatever you have within you, do put all your limits to work. And lastly, इतना ही है काफी अभी. It literally means that is enough. You are giving your best, you are working hard, that is all life demands from you right now. अगर तुमने ये कर लिया, no one is going to stop you from achieving what you want. Simple. Okay, so अभी के लिए प्लीज एक्सक्यूज मी, दिस इज ऑल आई वांटेड टू प्रोवाइड यू फ्रॉम माय साइड. अभी आई विल ट्राई कि मॉर्निंग में तुम्हारे लिए कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें बता दूँ. अगर आई विल ट्राई, आई डोंट प्रॉमिस, क्योंकि अभी मुझे अपना भी पढ़ना है. आई हैव ऑल्सो एन एग्जाम टुमारो, बट आई रियली वॉन्टेड टू हेल्प यू ऑल, क्योंकि मुझे काफ़ी मैसेजेस आ रहे थे. तो मैंने आज के आज ही 4 लेक्चर्स अपलोड किए हैं. एंड I also didn't know how much energy it took, and I did not know कि इतनी एनर्जी मेरे में कहाँ से आई. बट आज सुबह से ही एंड इवन कल रात से ही मैं बहुत इस चीज़ पे लगी हुई थी टू हेल्प यू ऑल. एंड मैंने अपनी जान लगा दी है, तुम अपनी जान लगा दो, और तुम लगा रहे हो, एंड दैट इज इनफ. आई विश यू ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट फॉर योर एग्जाम, एंड आई नो यू विल डू ग्रेट. Best of luck and love you lots. All the best. Give your best and stress मत करना. ये लाइन याद रखना कि स्ट्रेस करने से कुछ नहीं होगा. सिर्फ अपना बेस्ट दो, जो होगा अच्छा होगा. गॉड इज विद यू. कल पेपर खोलने से पहले एक डीप ब्रेथ ले लेना और अपना ज़्यादा टाइम MCQs पे मत छोड़ना. 15 मिनट जो तुम्हारे रीडिंग टाइम के है, यूज दैट फॉर फर्स्टली डिसाइड करो कि तुम कौन सी एक्सट्रैक्ट्स करने वाले हो. आफ्टर दैट फिर जो टाइम बचेगा, फर्स्ट 5 मिनट्स में तुमने क्वेश्चंस पढ़ने हैं सारे एक्सट्रैक्ट्स के और डिसाइड करना कि अच्छा ये आता है, ये आता है, ये आता है, ये करूंगा. ठीक है. रेस्ट 10 मिनट्स में तुमने अपने ऊपर ऊपर से MCQs के आंसर ढूंढने हैं. एंड जब लिखने का टाइम स्टार्ट होगा, यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू गिव मोर देन 20 minutes टू द एमसीक्यूज। डोंट गिव मोर देन 20 minutes टू एमसीक्यूज। नंबर्स डालो, जितने आते हैं उतने करो, बाकी लास्ट के लिए छोड़ो, पहले एक्सट्रैक्ट्स अटेम्प्ट करना। अगर तुमने एमसीक्यूज में ज्यादा टाइम लगा दिया, तुम्हारे पास एक्सट्रैक्ट्स के लिए टाइम नहीं बचेगा। ओके? और कई लोग बहुत इतना ओवर में ओवर अटेम्प्ट कराते हैं। लिटरेचर के पेपर में ओवर अटेम्प्ट नहीं करना होता। ओके? जितना लिख रहे हो उसको डिटेल में लिखो, अच्छे से लिखो। ओवर अटेम्प्ट करने की जरूरत नहीं। मैं नहीं करके आई थी, मेरे को 98 मार्क्स मिले थे। मेरा एक एमसीक्यू गलत हुआ था और एक आई गेस कमेंट वाले किसी क्वेश्चन में काटा होगा उन्होंने। ग्रेट। ठीक है। आई होप दैट आई विल यू। एक जाते जाते, इफ यू डोंट माइंड, नीचे एक कमेंट छोड़ जाना कि आई विल डू माई बेस्ट, आई विल अचीव इट, एंड मैंने अपना पूरा हार्ड वर्क लगाया है। एंड एज क्रिएटर्स, मुझे तुम लोगों से कुछ नहीं चाहिए। आई वॉज हेयर जस्ट टू हेल्प यू ऑल। अगर हो सके तो एक थैंक यू लिख देना नीचे कमेंट में, बिकॉज it will help me motivated, keep me motivated, and I'll upload more of videos for you throughout your 10th this journey boards की। and lastly एक फेवर मांगूंगी, स्ट्रेस मत लेना, पेपर आराम से करके आना, यू विल डू ग्रेट। एक छोटी सी चीज और, अभी नहीं, एट द एंड, ये चैनल अपने जूनियर्स को प्लीज बता के जाना, उनको भी बहुत हेल्प होगी। ओके? I'll see you guys tomorrow after the exam. Love you all. Keep learning, keep growing, and I know you will do great. All the best. Bye. All the best.